Good morning, guys. How are we all this morning? Welcome to the chat, Kev. Kev from the Hobby Corner there. First in the chat, bright and early. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm guessing you can. Yes, you can, because I've got it on the stream on my other screen. I've been messing around with my live stream capabilities setup, really. So this morning I'll be working on Ghazghkull. I'm not going to show you that yet, but I've got a few additions. I might as well show you around the slight gangster setup of my hobby room at the minute. Or not the hobby room, but the desk area of the hobby room. I've got a camera down view, a desk down view of a camera. It's just my phone, but I've connected it to a local area network using Streamlabs. It's a bit laggy. It's a little bit behind. You'll notice occasionally if I bang on something or scrape something, you'll notice a difference. I'll show you when the stream goes live. But yeah, I've also set up a second screen so I can watch the stream myself and turn it right down and stuff. But yeah, if you're having any trouble hearing me, let me know and I'll try and make some adjustments. This will hopefully be a much smoother stream than... Oh, one thing I've just remembered, I need to turn the alerts off on my phone. So I'll do that now before I forget. Where's my do not disturb? Do not disturb. There we go. So now hopefully we won't get any annoying bongs on my phone. Morning, David Watson. I need a drink. I've just started talking and I need a drink already. This is what always happens to me on live streams. But hopefully I won't be swigging from... It's not fruit punch. I'm sorry to disappoint Spud. He's not in the chat yet, but hopefully he'll be watching at some point. Philip Freeman, sound okay? Waiting for Ghazghkull to come. I was so thankful when it arrived last week. I felt like I'd been waiting for ages because I had, as most people have. But I was too busy last week to get it open and unboxed and everything. And I need to sneeze. Someone say pineapple. Nick Tomlin in the chat as well. Morning. Loud and clear. Excellent. Yeah, so last week it arrived. I'm going to turn that down even further because that's going to annoy me if I can hear it. Last week it arrived, Ghazghkull, and I was too busy. We're in lockdown. How could I be too busy? I'm furloughed at the minute. But I was putting together a quiz for last weekend. I wanted to have a bit of fun with the... How you doing, Plastic Crack? I wanted to have a bit of fun with the quiz, so I put it all together, uploaded it to my YouTube channel as like an unlisted video, and I screen shared the quiz with me dressed as a quiz master, that kind of thing, and then shared that to the group. So it was a little bit different from, because normally whoever's done the quiz in the past, they were just talking about they were just asking the questions to the webcam as I would be doing now. Dave Watson got the box on Saturday, haven't got around to, or so have to get around to building soon. Excellent stuff. Yeah, it's tricky finding the time, even though we're in the UK at least, we're in lockdown at the minute, and a lot of people are furloughed, people like myself. It's still tricky finding the time when you've got other things on, like you can't go out of the house as much. I feel like I don't think I've been out of the house since last Wednesday, in fact. But I'm going to go out today because my back is getting battered by sitting down on the couch all the time and watching Star Trek. Yeah, so this stream, I will be building Ghazghkull. It's 2 minutes to 10 now. I'm going to wait till 10 before I go to the desk down view. But you'll see how laggy it is then. Hopefully, though, it won't be too irritating. It's just more so you can see the sprue and everything. And to be honest, the camera... oh yeah, I was going to give you a little tour of the desk, wasn't I? Right, so I'll give you... You see how messy the room is at this point as well. So I've got an old TV set up over here for my monitor, so I can make sure I can follow what's going on the stream. Got the Streamlabs there on the computer. And then I've got here a series of clamps set up with my phone to show you what's on the desk. Now, like I said, that's on a local area network, so it's not going to be the best the quality's fine. It's just not going to be the best in terms of lag and stuff like that. So you'll have to bear with me. I'll try and pay attention to the chat, but obviously I'll be building as well. It'll be a little boring for you if I don't pay attention to the chat though, so I'll keep popping my eye up to the chat. So far, my impressions of the Ghazghkull miniature are that it's a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be. But I got my old Ghazghkull model and I put it in front of a Redemptor Dreadnought, and I thought that'd be great to just convert the old Ghazghkull model with a Redemptor Dreadnought to just make him a little bit bulkier than this one. And I think you could do that conversion quite easily with an easy to build Redemptor Dreadnought. So if you've got a spare old Ghazghkull, I'd consider maybe not purchasing this one, although it's a great model, this one. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Hope it's good model hope it's as good a model as it looks. I stopped converting my Primaries Deathwing to get one. Yeah, it looks an awesome model. Just looking at the kit here, it looks fantastic. The armor panels and everything are really, really nice to look at. So I'm glad to finally get my hands on it and finally get it out of the box. And I might as well go to a desk down view so you can see everything now. Where are my scenes? Where have they gone? There they are. Desk. Wow, I'm in the corner. Right, so you'll see how laggy it is now. Hopefully this isn't, just had a thought, hopefully this isn't picking up any sound, this phone camera. Let's turn my volume up, see if I can hear any echo. Hopefully this isn't, just had a thought, hopefully this isn't picking up any sound. No, it's not picking up any sound by the sounds of it. Nick Tomlin got his Gazzy yesterday. In love with his guns. Yeah, the guns are massive, aren't they? There's the gun arm there. You'll see me pointing eventually. There we go. Right, so the gun arms are here. And yeah, it's a lovely, meaty gun. If I was to convert a Redemptor Dreadnought up into Ghazghkull or another war boss in Mega Armor like this, I think what I'd do is potentially take the gun from a Gorkanaut and place it on the Redemptor Dreadnought's gun arm, and then obviously replace the Redemptor Dreadnought's fist arm with an appropriate claw or something, something along those lines. It's just looking at the kit all over, like the exhaust panel, the crank there and everything, the exhaust, all the shoulder panels, and then down to details like the skull and the claw and everything. You can see how crisp the detail is there. I hope you can see it on this camera anyway. You can see like just all the slices into the claw there. Really, really nice detail. And then we've got like Makari's head. Just see that nice and close. If I locate this camera right, I tell you what, I'll put my hand across it and then it'll be better. Look at that. Lovely. Absolutely lovely there. The amount of detail on the kit is fantastic. Like I said though, it's not as big as I thought. How you doing, Lee? It's not as big as I thought. But yeah, just all the details in there are absolutely superb. The banner there. And then even going down to the detail on the base. I really like the base because it's the base that means he can be posed a couple of different ways, facing to the left or facing to the right. So I think if you place him with his feet on this part and on this part, then I think it's so on these two parts, I think it's that's when he faces to the left. But then if you place his feet on these two parts, then that's when he'll be facing to the right. Yeah, so and then like just look at the detail on the Space Marine helmet. It's classic, little shell casing in the little hole there, the explosion hole, and then bits of barbed wire and rebar and stuff like that all over the miniature. It's fantastic, the miniature. But less chatting about the miniature. It's time to oh, excellent stuff. It's time to crack on with building a miniature. One thing that surprised me, although thinking about it, I think I've seen this in other GW kits recently, is in the instructions. So in the instructions, it's got part 1, it starts at part 1. In a lot of old GW kits, I feel like they didn't always start at part 1, so it was always a bit, not confusing, but this is almost as if you can go from part 1 and work your way through to however many parts there are, let's say for argument's sake 65, and you can build the whole kit without even using the instructions if you just start at 1 and work your way through to 65. But obviously I'll be using the instructions. A lot of Orc players don't use instructions, I imagine, and just crack on building it however, whatever takes their fancy, they'll do it whatever way they want. But for me, I do like to have, you look at Dreadwar Gaming, of course, he loves making each model unique. But for me, I do like to have at least one of the model or of the particular miniature, at least one built the way it says in the instructions. It's, something, I think I like following instructions. When I'm baking, I follow instructions. And not everybody does follow instructions, but when I was a kid building Kindrags, I tried to build it without the instructions, of course. But yeah, just looking at the instructions here, they look really simple. It looks like it goes in numerical order, which is very interesting. So I'll grab part 1 and part 2 now, and then clip them off the sprue and start cleaning them up for you. Like I said, I'm not sure how interesting this. Oh, I've lost my clippers already. I'm not sure how interesting this this video is going to be for you, but I thought I might as well. It's easy content for me essentially. I might as well build him live on stream, and it means I don't have to pre-record a video for Tuesday. I cannot see the part numbers on this at all. It's right. That's part 1. Yeah, it's a little tight for space here on my desk with all. I've got the webcam in front of me. I've got the clamps. Webcam in front of me. Clamps up. And yeah, it's a little tight for space. So I imagine at some point in this stream I'm going to knock the webcam over. So you'll see my ceiling or my floor instead of my face in that top corner there. But not to worry, you just get to judge me for how dirty my room is. This is part 1, and it's the oh, I'm nearly clipping off his heel there. I need to be careful there. I've got the light pointing down, but I think the camera's blocking out some of the light. The phone's blocking out some of the light, so it's a little tricky. Right, let's find part 2 now. Let's see what it looks like instead of just looking around blindly. There's part 2 there. This is part of his leg with the pistons and his foot. Got Chilling War Gamers in the chat now. Great to see you, dude. Great to see you too, mate. I'm guessing that's Spud, or is it Elster Nation? David Simpson in the chat. Good morning, my friend. Grumpy Guy Gaming. How you doing, mate? What have you been working on recently, Grumpy? I check in on your channel from time to time, but I don't always have the time, unfortunately. Right, we need a mold line remover now. Hope George is watching as well. Oh, you know what? This is a really... Looking at this, there's hardly any mold lines, which I think with a lot of the GW kits, the modern kits, you kind of expect these days. But I think the only areas I'm really going to have to clean up are the ones where there's where I've clipped it off the sprue, like here. There's a mold line down there, actually. Oh. Yeah, there's a mold line running down there, but with the tusk, it's because it's got the striations of growth. You could get away without doing that, I think, but it comes off the top of the tusk rather than the bottom. But yeah, there we go. Nice little... Oh, that was really easy to clean off as well. It wasn't a harsh mould line. I might get a knife to chip away at that bit before I get to work it. It's Spud from Chilling War Gamers. Oh, you've already built a Ghazghkull, have you? Fantastic. Did you build him on a stream, or... I'm assuming you built him anyway. You said he is lovely to build. I'm assuming you built him on a... Well, I'm assuming you built him. Did you build him on a stream if you have built him? I'm collecting Age of Sigmar from Hatchet Part Works. Ah, right. So, have you been watching my Mortal Realms videos on Thursdays? Because I'm hoping to get some of their miniatures built at some point. I was tempted to try and I'm trying to keep this camera in focus here as well. I was tempted to try and I don't even know what I was going to say now. How useless am I? I did that on Plastic Crack Gaming's hobby hangout when I was on with him. When I was on with Scar the other Sunday, about 3 weeks ago, I think it was. I was in the middle of saying something, and then I just completely, like, my thoughts fell out of my head, and I completely forgot what I was saying. Grumpy Guy Gaming painting now some Baratheons, right, for a Song of Ice and Fire, and some terrain for 40k, awesome stuff. Baratheons. Baratheons, yeah, they're the... I've forgotten the name of all the characters in Game of Thrones. Baratheon. Right, I know Jon Addy is the Baratheon king at the start. And Joffrey's a Baratheon, technically. No spoilers here. But, yeah, what's Mark Addy's character called in Game of Thrones? Oh, it's Robert Baratheon, because one of Ned's sons named after him. Yes, did it on a crazy 12-hour stream, blooming heck. So yes, looks like Spud's been building Ghazghkull on a 12-hour stream. Well, as far as I want to paint some of him separate to paint. Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be keeping certain parts separate because I want to make sure I can get into all those nooks and crannies that mean it's make it easier to paint him. Because I don't, there's certain models I don't mind splashing paint on where it shouldn't be, but other models I really would rather keep it clean, even if it's an orc model. You can use all the excuses you like. Oh, watch out, Steve! I've got a box cutter knife here, so get ready to see some blood. Yeah, you can use all the excuses you like about it's the orcs, so they don't mind making a mess with the paint jobs and stuff. But I think with Ghazghkull, I definitely want to take that extra care with him and do him to the best of my ability, which I think most people do. It's such a lovely mini, you wouldn't want to waste it. I could just rush one and then buy myself another one, but no, I don't fancy doing that. Plastic Gaming, good times, yep. Stannis and Renly Baratheon, yes, there we go. Stannis and Renly, Robert's brothers. Is Robert in the game for A Song of Ice and Fire? Because obviously, I don't know when the game's set. Is the game set after like the first season where the wars will start kicking off, or is it set before then? Some of the minis for Song of Ice and Fire look fantastic, but apparently they're really hard to get hold of reliably, aren't they? They've not got the best distribution network, Cool Mini or not, I don't think. I think that's who makes it, isn't it? Sorry about the lack of focus. I should find a way, see if I can do not an auto focus, see if I can just do a set focus. Then I can hold the model away from the camera and it can stay focused. But I hope it's not too dizzying for you. Yeah, so with Mortal Realms at the minute, it's coming every other week in the UK, as I'm sure you know if you're in the UK. So it's a little, I don't know, it makes my videos a little bit easier to make, but it's a little bit frustrating as well because I wish I was just getting through these Mortal Realms magazines when I'm in lockdown, because I've got all the time in the world now because I've started using a teleprompter app on my iPad to make my videos seem a little bit more professional, a little bit more coherent, and yeah, you'll notice in this stream I say and a lot, and I've tried to cut all that out using the teleprompter app, and I think it's working for that sort of thing. It does take a little bit of the personality out of the videos, I feel like, because my enthusiasm and just overexcitedness doesn't come across as much because I'm just reading a script that I've typed up that day. But I feel like I do try and put enough of my personality in there that you do still get that sort of feeling a little bit. But the thing is, with Age of Sigmar, everyone wanted me to cover more. I say everyone, probably not everyone, but a lot of people wanted me to cover the Mortal Realms magazines on the channel. But my enthusiasm, I don't know as much about Age of Sigmar for a start, and my enthusiasm for it isn't as high as for Warhammer 40k. Aesthetically, I prefer the 40k miniatures, and a lot of the time I'll prefer a sci-fi universe over a fantasy universe. Not all the time, but a lot of the time I do. I really like Lord of the Rings and certain things like that, and I watch fantasy films and stuff, but my enthusiasm is lower for Age of Sigmar anyway. So I think, even though it might seem at times like I'm not being as enthusiastic in the Age of Sigmar videos, maybe because I'm using the teleprompter now, I think it's also because I'm not as excited by the game, by the miniatures as well. Aesthetically, the 2 sets of miniatures that came in Age of Sigmar don't do it for me massively. I do kind of like a lot of the Nighthaunt stuff in terms of conversion potential for a Dark Mechanicus force in 40k. That was one of the reasons I was tempted by the magazine anyway, had the requests for me to cover it on the channel not been as high as they were. But I don't think, like I do the Conquest videos on a Sunday now, I don't think I'll be doing battle reports for Age of Sigmar. I'm doing the tutorial missions on Sundays at the minute. I've got about 11 more of them to do, I think, and then we'll go into the more or less, not full games, they're still small scale games, but with 5 units per side, that kind of thing, on as you grow your miniature collection through Conquest. You get more miniatures to play with, you get a bigger playing area and stuff like that. So issue 1 to 20 is on like a really small battle map that you can see on the videos on Sunday, so check them out if you get a chance. But issue 1 to 20 is on the small battle map. Yeah, then there's a bigger battle map. I think it's slightly bigger than a kill team board for the next 20 issues, so issue 20 to 40, and then 40 to 60 you can put 2 mats together, or you might just play on one of the mats, and then 60 to 80 you get 3 mats that you put all side by side for most of the missions. So you grow your collection, you grow your playing area and everything as you go along. I'm struggling to clean this up on stream. It's I understand why Scarnet told me just to bring something I could do base coats onto his stream, because you really get distracted by the chat, especially if it's just one of yours, I guess. Let's see what's going on in the chat. I'm going to get a drink as well. Right, I saw, Grumpy Guy Gaming, it's not based on the show but the books, yeah. I assume, though, I've not read the books, but I assume the stuff that happens in the first season of the show is relatively similar to the stuff that happens in like one of the first, or maybe the first 2 books, something like that. I know they did take things out of some books and put them in the first season of the show, I think, out of future books, and then like they mixed it all up a bit just to make it easier to follow narratively in a television sense. There is Ned Stark, but Robert Baratheon hasn't come out yet. Right, okay. Peter Singleton in the chat, how you doing, mate? How do you feel about the pedestrianisation of Norwich city centre? I think, it has to happen in every city at some point, where you get the pedestrianisation, because it just makes things safer for shoppers and for people going about their daily business. So it's an interesting part of a city's history when you get pedestrianisation happening in those central zones. But it makes it more tourist friendly, bringing more trade into the area, despite the fact that you can't just drive into the city centre all the way. You'll be able to park somewhere near the city centre and then walk to your various destinations, be it restaurants, shops, etc. They did announce Greyjoys this weekend. Excellent stuff. So we've got Greyjoys coming out for A Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah, like I said, some of the miniatures really do really do look nice. They are slightly bigger scale than the 40k miniatures. So like they're like 32mm scale or something. Although I guess technically GW's miniatures really are like 32mm scale rather than 28. But I really need another light here. I've just realised it looks quite light in the room behind me and everything, but I'm not getting much light down to this miniature. Tell you what I might do is take that off, and it'll probably wash my face out. Let's see if I can take that bag off. 1 second, bear with me. Whew. Yeah, so the scale of the miniatures. Oh, that's bright. The scale of the miniatures for Song of Ice and Fire look a little bit bigger than the 40k ones, so it creates different painting opportunities, different painting challenges, I guess, as well, because you've got potentially a few more details here and there that you wouldn't see on like a GW miniature. Me and my brother are into Warhammer 40k more than Age of Sigmar. Yeah, it's same for me really. Like I've always been more into 40k. When I first got into the hobby when I was about 12, it was sci-fi miniatures that got me into the hobby. For me it was Eldar, despite the fact that I'm building orcs now. It was Eldar that got me into the hobby. I didn't like orcs at the time at all. I mentioned this on Plastic Crack Gaming stream a couple of weeks ago. The orcs at the time, I found most of them quite goofy looking. Although the ones that came in the second edition box set, they're kind of alright in my opinion. But then the ones that came out, like the buggies and stuff for Gork Mork, and then they got used more widely in 40k. Widely in 40k. They the orcs on them, they just look weird. They're like a kind of hybrid human orc sort of look to them. They don't quite look right. They don't fit with the rest of the GW aesthetic. The rest of the vehicles do, but the orcs themselves, they don't fit with the rest of the orcs in GW, in my opinion. I think most people will agree with that. So a lot of the miniatures at the time, although now and again I'll see someone painted one up, and I'll be blown away by them. I'll be like, wow, the paint job just makes me want that miniature to see if I can paint it the same way. I think there's one that I've been looking at recently. I've seen on a few people's Facebook pages and stuff like that. And I think it's from like Space Crusade, and I think he's got like a helmet on, but he's got two top knots like coming out either way, like sort of almost like pigtails, but top knots, so they're higher up than pigtails. And he's got a power fist, not a power claw, but a power fist, and a gun in the other hand. And I kind of like that miniature. But yeah, it's always been, or mainly been, sci-fi miniatures for me. Although around the time Lord of the Rings was launched by GW, I did get a little bit into Lord of the Rings then, and I do like some of the Age of Sigmar miniatures as well. But mostly it's always been sci-fi for me. Yeah, your brain goes into tunnel vision on a stream, so you forget to do what you're working on. I've got a bit more light here now, but I think the problem is now the light's just reflecting off the miniature and making the camera go blurred again. I definitely need a second light on in here. What I might do is put the main light on in the room, see if that helps at all. Oh, bear with me. All my lights on, see what happens. Nah, that's not kicking out much, is it? Yeah, so it looks like the Song of Ice and Fire miniatures, according to Grumpy Guy Gaming, are 32mm, so yeah, they're a little bit taller than your average. Well, not necessarily a little bit taller, because you get boys like Ghazghkull, of course, where he's a lot taller than they might be. Other than the mountain, maybe. The mountain miniature looks massive. Like, when you scale that up, how tall would that make the mountain in the books? Would he be like 7 feet tall almost, something like that? Yeah, I just keep picking up both pieces one after the other here. I was into Eldar, then I want a Chaos Army. Then I got a Chaos Army. I think so. Yeah, the Chaos never appealed to me when I was a kid either. I think I liked very much the good side of what you'd consider as a child the good side of things. Now I look at 40k and I'm like, who is good? To me, the Eldar are closest to being good, but that doesn't speak to everybody in the same way. I know Mythos from Frost and Fists, I'm sure he's not watching because it's way too early for him over there. Although, if he gets up early, he might be able to catch me a little bit before I end the stream, depending on how long I stay on. But yeah, there's no real good guys in 40k at the minute, although Mythos says he likes Space Wolves and the Imperium and Space Marines because they're humans and he can relate to that. But to me, despite the fact that they are physically human, they don't behave like any reasonable human in a modern setting. So not in a futuristic setting. It might be more reasonable in that setting that they are setting. But yeah, I don't know why I'm cleaning up all this stuff on the base here, because I don't even know if you're going to see this when he's stood on his little girder or whatever he's standing on. I got so many Lord of the Rings models stashed away from years ago. Can't wait until I'm 60 before I get around to painting them all. Yeah, it's I've not got many. I got the Fellowship of the Ring. I've got Elrond. I've still got them somewhere. Fellowship of the Ring, Elrond, and I think it's just the Mines of Moria set or the Goblin Town. Is it? Well, I got the Escape from Goblin Town set from The Hobbit as well, actually, because when I got back into The Hobbit a few years ago, not when Lord of the Rings and stuff was out, I got really tempted by some of the Hobbit stuff. I was like, yeah, I'll get that. So I've got a set of like dwarves, Gandalf, just the Escape from Goblin Town set, really. I've been thinking about trying to make the Goblin King into some kind of an orc miniature or potentially a Nurgle miniature, because obviously he's very big and bloated, and it's quite easy to see him as, say, a Nurgle Demon Prince or something like that. Oh, we need to clean that up a bit more, don't we? Is that... trying to work out at the moment whether that should be like a rivet or not. I know it's part of where it clips off the sprue, but I don't think they put a rivet behind where you clip it off the sprue. So I'm going to clean that up a bit more there. Need to clean up his knee pad there. Oh, they're both on that piece, that's good. Oh no, they're not. They are a bit, yeah. Right, let's clean up that knee pad. Philip Freeman's 68 and still collecting. Age of Sigmar at the moment, excellent stuff. Whoa. I need to. I've been watching this Australian art channel called Jazza. He's very much a YouTuber. I put videos on YouTube and occasionally, like this, live stream on YouTube. I wouldn't really consider myself a YouTuber, but this guy earns a living from it, and you can see all the effort he puts into it. He's got a proper studio set up, and he shows his enthusiasm in the videos and the way he edits the videos. It's very much a typical YouTube channel. Check it out. And he's got millions of subscribers. Check it out for sure. He's recently started putting up a bit of hobby content, a bit of modelling content on his... I can't remember why I started talking about him now, so I've just gone off on a tangent and completely forgot why. But yeah, I've just recently started watching... I say recently. I've been watching him for a good few months now. Watching Jazza on YouTube when he 3D sculpted an 18-inch or 9-inch tall Space Marine Reaver. 3D sculpted it using a VR headset and a VR sculpting program, and then painted it up. And the paint job he did on it wasn't great because he wasn't thinning his paints and stuff like that. Because in the art world he operates, you don't thin your paints really. You just whack them on the canvas and stuff. But yeah, he started putting up more hobby content. He did this little project called Knife Fight, where he took a runt herd from the Gretchen box and put it, converted it like massively using green stuff and did a really good job on some of the sculpting to be having this knife fight with this human civilian. It looks really good. Like he's chopped his head off basically, and there's like blood spewing out of the neck. But what's weird about the miniature and the little project he's done is he's because it's a civilian, he's just wearing a jumper. This yellow jumper. It's like someone in 40k just wearing a yellow jumper, like a crew neck jumper. Crackers, absolutely crackers. But you don't see that. You don't think about necessarily about what civilians wear in this grim darkness of the far future. Can't imagine fashions will be exactly the same as now, but because whenever you see someone slightly closer to a civilian than military, or than most of the military miniatures you see, someone like a rogue trader you might consider to be slightly closer to a civilian, or an inquisitor, they're always in these like Victorian or somewhere between 16th to 20th century like high society dress. They're always in those sorts of things, so it's a little jarring to see this civilian with just a crew neck jumper on. But a crew neck jumper is like one of the easiest things to put on in this day and age. So why wouldn't they be wearing something that's that easy to put on in the future? But yeah, the civilian's got this like tiny knife, and of course the runt herd that he's converted really well. It looks like a knob almost, or a war boss or something. It's really nice, the runt herd. The civilian's holding a little knife, and the runt herd's got this massive knife. It's not a runt herd anymore, I don't think. I don't think you class it as a runt herd. But he said he spent like a month on the project, and he's only just started putting hobby stuff on his channel because I don't think he wants it to become part of his main content. He wants his main content to stay focused on. That's annoying. He wants his main content to stay focused on more traditional art stuff. He does a lot of character design stuff on his channel. So if you're into that kind of thing, or he used to do a lot of character design stuff on his channel, I get the impression. If you're into that kind of thing, definitely consider taking a look. I know G the Hyper Sapien said he's been following his channel for ages. He shared a video in the Orc 40k Orc community on Facebook. Make sure you check out the 40k Orc community on Facebook if you've not already done so. If you're into orcs in any way, shape or form, you don't need to share in the group if you don't want to. If you just like to be in these cool hobby groups on Facebook and have a look at what everyone else is working on, it's always interesting to join a few other groups. I'm in a custodian group. I'm George. Are you sure? GG Warhammer. Yeah, I'm in a custodian group on Facebook, and they mainly talk about what's good in game and like how to win games and stuff like that. So it's a completely different feel to the 40k group. Sorry, the 40k Orc group, because 40k Orc group's more about, occasionally you'll get someone asking a question about list building, but for me, most of the time it's about sharing pictures of your works in progress and conversions and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see how these different parts of the 40k community approach the hobby. What's the most important part of the hobby for them? Is it the gaming side of things? Is it the building and painting side of things? But you see a lot less building and painting projects. I think a lot fewer building and painting projects in the custodian group than you do in, say, the 40k Orc community group. Do you think Primaris will replace all regular Marines? If so, do you think we will get Primaris Terminators, Assault Squads, and so on? That was from Patrick Sheridan, by the way. I'm going to take a drink before I address this question. Let's come back to the face focus after I've taken the drink. Well, here's my opinion on that. Yes. Yes to the first part. I think Primaris will replace regular Marines in general. But I don't think we'll get Terminators, but assault squads and so on, yes. I think it's looking like there's some bikes coming out in the not too distant future. But they... I don't think we'll get Terminators because I think the Gravis is replacing Terminator armor. You might get some kind of Gravis unit that's a bit more versatile than the current aggressors we have, because the aggressors are very much heavy fire support kind of a deal, aren't they? Or close fire support, and they've got the two fists which make them. Can you tell I don't know much about rules? But they've got the two fists that make them decent in close combat, and they can get up in your face and stuff like that. They're a little bit slow across the table, but the aggressors, in my opinion, will be taking the place of Terminators in many aspects, and and I think we'll probably see more versatile use of the Gravis armor. So you'll get like a more combat-oriented Gravis assault force, and there'll be a way of teleporting that in, so you don't have to walk across the table bit by bit slowly. And there's already a way of teleporting Primaris units in, of course, but there'll be maybe more rules brought into the game and more ways to deploy, more transports and things for Primaris. But I am of the opinion that Primaris will eventually, I don't know when the last regular sized Marine miniature will come out of the mould, but I'm very much of the opinion that Primaris will eventually replace regular Marines. But yeah, it's interesting because certain, I know from the lore, factions like the Flesh Tearers, they were at first against. I'm just going to put this phone on charge, see if I can get it to take some charge, so I don't lose that desk down feed. If I do, I'll just switch the cameras round, so you don't have to look at my face anymore. But I know in the lore, like certain Space Marine factions like Flesh Tearers were a little bit more resistant to taking on Primaris at first, but they are coming round to it, and I've been watching the Warhammer TV streams on Twitch, and I know Wade Price, the guy that does all the podcasts, he's been Wade Price. He's been that was my impression of him, just in case you didn't know. He's been building up a Primaris Flesh Tearers force anyway, and I think certain characters like Gabriel Seth, it'll be interesting to see if they convert them, because he was the one that was so resistant at first to the Primaris. So it'll be interesting to see whether they convert them into the Primaris Marines if they cross the Rubicon, or if they kill them off. Because I think there's a lot of, to be fair, there's always someone that loves certain characters. You look at Bram Redmore, for example, prime example. Bram Redmore is sort of like a character on the peripheries of the Space Wolves, but it was a character that really captured people's imagination, especially Mythos from Frost and Fist. It's a character that really captures people's imagination, and if he was completely written out of the lore, in terms of he was killed off in the lore, if he was killed off in the lore, then there'd be people like really upset by that. He's not been killed off in the lore yet, to my knowledge, but I've not read through the Saga of the Beast book yet. I started reading it last night, actually, to see if I could talk about some of it today, but not a chance to read through it properly. But yeah, when characters people like get killed off in the lore, a lot of people get upset by that, because it's always someone's favourite character, isn't it? Even Lucius the Eternal, absolutely despicable guy, he's going to be someone's favourite character. Fulgrim, I hate Fulgrim, but he'll be someone's favourite character. And when they get written out of the lore, killed off, then it's always going to upset someone. So it'd be interesting to see how many, if any, of these Space Marine characters like Gabriel Seth don't cross the Rubicon Primaris, or if they just keep those miniatures around, or update those miniatures maybe, and keep them as like a really old Space Marine, and he's never crossed Rubicon because he's never been killed, and so on and so forth. They can go about it a number of ways. How you doing, Oshi? Good to see you in the chat. They can go about a number of ways, but it's yeah, it's interesting to see how they'll approach that in future. I've disappeared. Oh, I have completely disappeared off screen. I'm back. I was just down there. Yeah, just plugging my phone in to hope that it takes some charge. Oh no, just putting a bit of weight on that side. Might be better doing this. That'll do. Right, hopefully that'll take on some charge now, so I won't have to lose that desk down camera. Yeah, but that's my thoughts on Primaries Marines. I think eventually they will replace regular Marines, but they might not do it. Oh, they're not going to do it anytime soon, not completely anytime soon. I doubt it anyway, unless they decided they needed a completely clean slate. But I can't imagine it. You know, they'd lose a lot of sales. But it's going to be interesting to see if and when and if they do take that plunge and say we're not making the tactical squad kit anymore, because that was a kit released around the same time. New tactical squads was released, I think, around the same time we got the new Mega Knobs in plastic for orcs, so around 2015-16 mark, something like that. So it's only been 5 years of that kit. I can't imagine they're gonna stop making that kit anytime soon, but you never know. You know, they'll have probably made the money back from the mold already because they sell that many Space Marines, so they could just take that plunge if they wanted to. Let's go back to the chat and then I'll crack on with a bit more scraping for you. Oh, I could put my mic right next to the mold line remover so you can hear it like an ASMR video, scraping. Right, Marcus Castellanos. Wow! I don't normally do a wow on my channel, but I thought I'd do it just as I read that there. Morning, modelling for Advantage. How you doing? Is that the Kaiser? Loving the pound shop knife, craft knife. Thank you very much. It's you know, they are 10 a penny. Well, they're not 10 a penny. They're £1 for about 5. But you get them in a nice box, and they're dead easy. I like these box opening knives, but obviously certain other YouTubers out there, orky YouTubers that shall remain nameless, Steve-O, they won't remain nameless. They don't like them because they are not, you know, not very careful with them. I try to be careful with mine, but obviously sometimes. Oh, let me tell you this. Because I've been locked in my house for months, I've just been walking around in flip-flops in my house. And I was in the kitchen the other day making lunch, and then I'm chopping some onions or something, and then I put the knife down on the side, and it's a big sharp knife. Put the knife down on the side, and then I went to like put my hand down past the side of the worktop, but the knife was sort of hanging over the edge, and I pushed the knife, and it flipped up. But luckily, I pressed it against the side as well because I realised what was happening. Pressed it against the side. But if that knife had dropped down onto my foot while I'm wearing flip-flops, that wouldn't have ended well for me. I don't think it would have anyway. You might not have been seeing me on stream again. But let's get back to the chat after that slightly off-topic thing there. Let's get back down to the desk as well. Oh yeah, let's do a test to see just how far behind this desk cam is. I've got Ghazghkull's base here. And now I'm going to hit it, and then you can tell me how far behind it is. Get your stopwatches ready so you can count. About 4 seconds behind, I think, isn't it? So that's how far behind this camera is. Right. Yeah. Just because it's on a local area network and it's not an actual webcam, it's my phone. So that's just wanted to demonstrate how far behind that camera was. Back in the chat, this is a different time for a live stream. Yes, it is a different time for a live stream. Most people go live in the evenings in the UK or in the middle of the night because they're in the US, so they're streaming it in the evenings over there. But I thought I'd go live now because I'm locked in my house. I might as well just go live while I'm working a bit on Ghazghkull. I don't know, this hasn't gone that well so far in terms of actually getting work done on Ghazghkull, but I'm just going over the same parts with the mold line remover. Yeah, so it's not gone spectacularly for me in terms of getting work done on Ghazghkull, but I figured it'd be a nice little bit of content for my channel where I can just chat to you live and respond to questions that come up in the stream and stuff. Like this. Philip Freeman, I hope they will I hope they will. I've been making true scale 40k for some years, and I'm doing true scale Primaries Terminators at the moment. But I do hope they will add more and lots of the Rangers. More to lots of the Rangers. Yeah, me too. I've not been making true scale Primaries Marines, but one thing I was doing when I got back into the hobby was looking at the possibility of making true scale Marines. So the Primaries Marines for me, I understand why it's frustrated people, the way they've released the Primaries Marines, because they've written new lore that suggests this is how big they should be, the Primaries Marines, because they're bigger than Space Marines and stuff. But really, the Primaries Marine models don't represent what a Primaries Marine should be in terms of size when you compare it to, say, an Orc Boy. If it's really that much bigger than a Space Marine, because a Space Marine should really be a lot bigger than an Orc Boy, because I think Orcs are supposed to be about 6 foot tall because they're quite slouched, so it's like basically the shoulder height is like 6 feet, but they're supposed to be about 4 feet wide as well. But then you look at Space Marine miniatures, they're supposed to be about 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide, or not quite 3 feet wide, something like that in their armor. So Space Marines have never been big enough. So making true scale Marines was something I looked at when I got back into the hobby about 7 years ago. But it was beyond my skill at the time. Well, not beyond my skill, but yeah. Well, to be fair, I don't have the skills still, but I could learn those skills if I wanted to dedicate the time to it. Because there's plenty of people out there doing it, converting true scale Marines. But now they've released Primaries Marines with new lore. It means that these Primaries Marines really aren't the right scale, because Primaries Marines should be like 9-10 feet tall. So the regular Space Marines should be Primaris size. Primaries Marines should be Primarch size? Not Primarch size, no. But they should be a little bit bigger than they are, perhaps. It's an interesting topic for discussion. Ooh. Alright, it's Kaiser from Modelling for Advantage. Good to see you in the chat. Been enjoying your content recently. What day is it today? Tuesday. Did you get a video up on Tuesday, or is it Wednesday your video goes up? The update one. I like that one. I watched Flames of War one the other day, didn't I? That was good as well. It's always good to look at another game every now and again and sort of live vicariously through other individuals' hobbies, because I can't be getting into any more game systems. I'm not into Age of Sigmar, but I've got a lot of Age of Sigmar miniatures. I've got the Warcry. I've got the original Warcry box, and I don't find the time to play that. I've got like Blackstone Fortress. I don't play that often, despite the fact that you can play it as a single individual, Blackstone Fortress, and I've been locked in my house for months now. Instead, I've been trying to play 40k by myself, or these tutorial missions I do on Sundays for Conquest. It's Wednesday, your video goes up, the update video, excellent stuff. I've got some true scale Rhinos and Dreadnoughts, and they are big. I can imagine they are big. Every now and again, there's a Facebook page I follow, I can't remember what it's called, but they do remote control Rhinos and remote control Predators and stuff like that. They build them out of plasticard, and they are absolutely amazing, but they look closer to the right scale than the Rhino kit you buy from Games Workshop. They're much bigger. They're probably about 12 inches long or something. But yeah, they need to be to fit all the gears and everything inside to be able to drive them across the battlefield. I think this is looking alright now, this part of the kit. There's just a little nub in there I can scratch off. I might glue these parts together at some point. By the end of the stream, I may have glued 2 pieces together. Oh, imagine that. You get to see this build progression. Oh, I know what I can do now. As a YouTuber, I can take a lead from people like Jazza, real YouTubers, who say, if you've not already done so, feel free to drop me a like. It's one thing I try and do when I go onto other people's streams, when I'm in the comment section, is remind everyone else to hit the like button on the video, in order to get that video more promotion and stuff. It's YouTube algorithms require people to interact with the videos as much as possible, you see. So that's why I think you look at Dreadwar Gaming, he started his channel way after me, but he's been more successful than me already. He's past my, well, I'm assuming he's past my viewership and Steve-O and stuff, because they do live streams, so they get more live interaction and it gets them more and more subscribers. Also, they do, the thing about those two channels is they're specialist channels, so they are solely Orc related. Now and again, Steve-O talks about Necrons. Don't know why Necrons are boring, but although potentially new Necrons coming out in a box set from Games Workshop. But they... what was I going to say? Yes, they are specialist channels, specialist Orc dedicated channels, so they get a dedicated viewership. Whereas because I cover Conquest, Mortal Realms and Orcs, I need to find a way to squeeze in some other content as well. So I've got an excuse to build and paint some Blackstone Fortress minis. Well, I've built a lot of them, but I need to paint the Blackstone Fortress minis. Because I'd like to, next time I play it, I'd like to play with some painted minis. So I need to find an excuse or a day to squeeze them in. Maybe I could do it as a live stream if I start doing maybe a live stream on Saturday morning, something like that. But then that means I'm restricted to Saturday mornings become more restrictive for me, so I can't just go and visit people and stuff. So maybe not do that. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see in what the future brings for the channel. But yeah, because they're more dedicated to a particular... Excuse me, I'm burping my breakfast up now. Because they're more dedicated for a particular channel, a particular faction, they get more dedicated viewers that like to interact with them more. And it's the same for Idic Bear 40k. He's driving his channel to become more Necron orientated than it was before. But he does, surprisingly though, now his channel's become more Necron orientated. He's getting a few of his other armies on the channel. But I think it's more to do with the lockdown situation and him being locked in his house by himself. He's playing both armies, both factions, the same way that I do with the Conquest videos on Sundays and the occasional Orc battle report. Whoo! Oyo Savaloy the Bard, how you doing, mate? Warcry is great. Find the time, honestly. It's really an underrated game. Yeah, I watched a little bit of what's it called? I keep forgetting YouTubers' names. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I am gonna check Minions, Tabletop Minions. Yes, I was watching a bit of Tabletop Minions the other day, and he was talking about how he's going to give Warcry another try because I think he had a lot of the reservations that I have about Warcry. In that, there's not. I like the variety you get in 40k and in. One of the reasons I'm not as big a fan of Age of Sigmar is because I like the variety you get in terms of shooting. You get more. Every army gets at least a bit of shooting. Even Tyranids and Orcs. Orcs aren't very good at it, but if you get enough guns on the table, they're alright. So I like the variety you get. Friday Night Live, potentially. I like the variety you get in Age of Sigmar because you get shooting and you get combat. Some armies are better at one, some armies are better at the other. But that does put a certain amount of unbalancedness in the game because most people realise, or most people believe, that it's the more gun-heavy armies, gun-line-heavy armies. You know what? I'm going to glue these two pieces together now because I'm quite confident I've got most of the mould lines off there, if not all. Well, hey, so I'm going to bring my glue into the picture. Yeah, so one of the reasons I've always held back from Warcry is... Oh, God, neck I need to crack. One of the reasons I've held back from Warcry is because they've not got as much variety in terms of shooting. Certain factions, the wider factions, not just the Chaos factions, I think come with a certain amount of ranged attacks. But it is interesting to me, Warcry. It's just not something I'm... Especially the miniatures, because the miniatures are gorgeous. The Chaos Warband miniatures are gorgeous. And then there's some other factions coming in now. I don't even know where this is going to be glued. There we go, on top here. Yeah, so you've got the Marathi faction miniatures. What's Marathi's faction called? Daughters of Cain miniatures that are coming in now. And yeah, there's some lovely, lovely miniatures in there. Oh, missed the pot. So, it's coming up to 11. Should I keep going? I'm going to keep going. I was planning on maybe just streaming for an hour, but I'm going to keep going. Yeah, so there's some fantastic looking miniatures in there. But the lack of a shooting phase has always kind of put me off a bit. But I imagine the hero phase takes... is there a hero phase in Warcry? I don't know exactly the phases. I'm assuming it's a similar sort of situation to Age of Sigmar where there's likely a hero phase, but I don't know for sure. And yeah, the lack of shooting has always put me off a bit. But the miniatures and the terrain and stuff are excellent. And obviously you can set up the terrain however you like. You can use whichever set of AOS or fantasy appropriate terrain you like. But I've always been put off by the lack of shooting, really, for Warcry. So it's something I'll always look back at, and at some point I'll get some Warcry miniatures, but that's a project for another day at the minute. And if I get some Warcry miniatures, I'll probably give the game a go as well. I'll probably wait for a new Warcry box set to be released with a bit of terrain in there and a bit of... because I'm getting, like, I've got the Garden of Moor set, or Sigmarite Mausoleum set from Conquest. So I'll be looking to play some kind of game around that. I'll use it for Kill Team and with Halloween scenarios or something maybe. But yeah, it's something I'll look into in the future, I think. But it's not something I'm desperate to try at the minute, because I don't find the time to... I don't make the time to play 40k and to play Kill Team enough. So then what little time I do make to play a miniature war game, it'll be then more thinly spread. The various miniature war games I have will be then more thinly spread. So I was playing, like, before lockdown. I mean, I play on my channel every Sunday. I play with myself on my channel. If you want to watch me play with myself, just join me on a Sunday and you can see that delightful thing happen. But the... yeah, because I don't play... I play like once a month, if that. It's not even once a month, but I play once a month, if that. And I need to remember the rules other than when I'm playing alone. So I need to remember the rules every time I play. And it becomes a bit more tricky for me if I'm playing multiple game systems, because I might misremember rules, think of a rule from one game system when I need to be thinking of a rule from another game system, and so on and so forth. The rules get jumbled up in my head, because I'm a bit of a simpleton. Let's go back to the chat. Howdy partner, how you doing, Roxy? Friday Night Live. I love Uncle Atom. Everybody does. I think he's, just one of those hobby YouTubers that I think he's just so watchable, just when he's talking away in his little basement, and his live streams, his every other Sunday show. I can sit and watch him for ages. If I need something to watch and there's no Frost and Fist for me that's really sharp, that. There's no Frost and Fist for me to catch up on, and no other YouTubers that I'm friends with for me to catch up on, I'll definitely go to... that's one of the go-to channels for me, is Tabletop Minions, and check out what he's been talking about on his live stream. Good thing about his live stream is he gets so many people in the chat that he and he focuses just on the chat, so he's not trying to build at the same time. I think he said he's tried it in the past and it just doesn't work for him. Doesn't work for me either, apparently, because I put two pieces together so far. So yeah, I don't think this works for me that well. Maybe I need someone to moderate the chat with me, so if someone's come online, I can put them... I'm up in the right hand corner of the screen, I can put them in the left hand corner of the screen, and then they can chat away and interact with the chat when I am modelling, and they can ask me the occasional question. So I think I'd get a bit more built then. The same way Frost and Fish stream, they one of them will be talking, the other one will be sometimes working on something. Freak, a lot of the time, is concentrating so much on the technical side of stuff, so it's difficult for him to get any building and painting done. But I know when I was on Frost and Fish stream a while ago, Mythos got a lot of work done because I was doing all the talking, because Freak had to rush off, so he just left us two to it. and I was doing all the talking, so Mythos managed to paint a complete miniature in the time we were sat chatting. Now, for some people, to paint a complete miniature on a stream, that's just a natural thing to do. But for people like me and Mythos that are easily distracted, it's just difficult. It's really, really hard. I'm just going to mute the mic a second, if I can, because I'm going to cough. There we go, I'm back. I think I might cough again, you know. I'm just going to grab some more water. I think I've been doing too much talking, so I definitely do need a second person with me. We're coming up to an hour of the stream now, so I don't think I'll stay streaming too much longer because I don't normally talk for this long. But we'll see. Let's see what's going on in the chat before I fall off the screen completely. So, Patrick Sheridan, any new additions to your Imperial Fists? Love your Conquest game videos. Learning slot from them. Learning a lot from them, I guess that means. Yeah, it would be autocorrect, that wouldn't it? A and S are right next to each other on the keyboard. So, new additions to the Imperial Fists. I've still got to build and paint a lot of the Conquest miniatures. I'll go back to the thingy because you're hardly seeing anything on the desk cam at the minute because I'm not doing any work. So additions to Imperial Fist, yes. I got the Sergeant Joven miniature off someone on Instagram, and it's someone who follows me on YouTube as well. But I can't remember because they've got a different name on Instagram to different to the name on YouTube. So I can't remember for the life of me who it is that follows me on YouTube. That I bought the Joven miniature off, but I'm sure they're a subscriber on YouTube as well. But yeah, I got the Sergeant Joven miniature for them. I've got various hero miniatures and stuff that I'll be adding to my fists over the years. But I've got a load of infiltrators in this box here, the Prophecy of the Wolf box. Infiltrators slashing cursors. I've been looking recently at getting some of the sniper rifle guys. The heavy weapons jump pack guys. I don't know what they're all called. I don't know if you can tell. But there, I've got the infiltrators slashing cursors to be working on in the meantime, and still plenty of miniatures from Conquest. So you'll be seeing them. I think when I come to the end of the Conquest tutorial missions, I'll do a little bit about expanding on your Conquest collection, and ways you can grow your Space Marines forces and your Death Guard forces as well. I'm hoping by then the Death Guard series of Space Marine heroes, I'm hoping by then they'll be available in the UK, so I can include them in that. I think there's about 7 of them altogether, isn't it? It makes sense Nurgle-wise. But yeah, I'm hoping to do like, here's a way to expand on this force, here's a way to expand on that force. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Is it interesting? Tell me if it's interesting in the comments. Yeah, so that's the expansion. The things I've been adding, the things I'm potentially adding is this, basically the infiltrators to my Imperial Fist at some point in the not too distant future. Well, I say not too distant future, it's probably a year away, but you get the idea. It depends if I get a desire to build them sooner than then you might see them on the channel sooner than that. And of course there's a Ragnar miniature in this as well. I'm not sure what to do with the Ragnar miniature at the minute. Should I sell it? Should I use it as a giveaway? I'm not sure, because my first thought was I'll convert it into like an Emperor's Champion or something. I've got the Imperial Fist Codex supplement somewhere behind me, probably on that shelf behind the box there, sort of near the window. It's probably over there, the Imperial Fist Codex supplement, so I've got that sat over there, and I'll take a look at that and see what my options are in terms of heroes, although most of them will just be in the regular Space Marines Codex, which I don't have, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm thinking try and convert Ragnar into a regular Space Marine hero as like an Imperial Fist character, but I don't know. But it would be nice to have a miniature dynamic like that in my games of Kill Team. So definitely something I could do in the future. But it require a lot of work, I think, in terms of getting rid of them smelly wolf pelts. Right. Yeah, hero phase, you roll those crazy initiative dice. They really add tactical nuance. That's in games of Warcry. Sounds hard to pass on. I can't remember what I was talking about, so... The rules mix-up is much more of a problem in Kill Team. The rules are so similar. Yeah, so Kill Team is similar to 40k, but Warcry is less similar to Age of Sigmar. Warcry is built a new system with very little overlap to Sigmar rules. What do you think of the big channels for hobby? You mean like mini wargaming and I guess would you consider Nick's channel a big channel? I guess Luke's APS or Geek Gaming. I don't know what his channel's called anymore, but Luke's APS, Luke APS. I can't remember if it's Luke or Luke's. Yeah, so the bigger channels for hobby, I think they can be. And then there was silence. I think they can be really good. And Uncle Adam, Tabletop Minions and stuff like that. I think they can be really good and really. I think they can help encourage small channels start up, probably more so than some of them do, because probably more so than some of them do. They can encourage. They can help. I'm really stumbling over my words here. It's like I don't believe what I'm saying. They can be. Here's what I want to say. They can be really useful to people when they're getting back into the hobby, especially if you want to see how the game works now and stuff like that. Like I was out of the hobby for years, and it was through watching YouTube videos from channels like Mini Wargaming, Blue Table Painting at the time, and doing a lot of battle reports, and various other big channels as well as like less big channels at the time, like Idic Bay 40k. Now Idic Bay 40k has grown his channel massively from where I joined it. I think he had about 2,000 subscribers when I subscribed to him, and then so he was at a position then where I am now almost. But yeah, they can be really useful to people getting back into the hobby. Sometimes it can become about pumping out content more, which it can for a lot of YouTubers. For me, it became a bit like that, and that's one of the reasons I lent onto the Conquest magazine so much, and one of the reasons I've started the Mortal Realms magazines is because it's regular content. It's easy regular content. But what I've tried to do since Mortal Realms came out is make sure I've actually got some 40k content, because if I'm not just an Orc channel, I need to be at the very least a 40k channel. There's not been Orc content on my channel for ages, and this video was supposed to be an Orc video, but it turns out I'm talking about Space Marines and YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, it gives you a taste of my personality and the strangeness of me. But yeah, the bigger YouTube channels, they can be really useful for when you're getting back into the hobby, absolutely. And they can do some good videos as good content from certain channels out there. And if you like battle reports and stuff, it's regular battle reports of a high quality. When I say high quality, I mean high production quality a lot of the time. There might be mistakes in there and stuff, but I'm not too bothered about the mistakes. If I'm watching a battle report, it's not necessarily to see the rules executed perfectly, because I don't execute rules perfectly. I don't think about games tactically as much as I should. But it's more about getting the games played and having fun and stuff for me. So I'm not looking for perfect rules in that, but the big channels out there can be really useful for people getting back into the hobby, like I said. What are we looking at now in the chat? Make me a mod for a B. I don't think I need a mod in the chat so much. To be fair, I might need a mod in the chat if I get people coming on the channel and spamming the chat and stuff. We'll see. I don't know how many live streams I'm going to do in the future, but I've got this set up now, and it's quite a nice, easy setup to handle. So I might need a mod in the future. We'll see. It's early in the US. My God, it is early in the US. I'm surprised I caught this one. I'm surprised you caught this one as well, because it must be like 6 a.m. there now, just gone 6 a.m. And in certain parts of the US even earlier. Don't know many big streamers, but Border Prince Voldemort's Wolf Lord Rio and Chapter Master Valrak are good. Yeah, Valrak pumps out regular content. and Balrak and Kirioth both do the same, where they, like, I think Kirioth's struggling at the minute to keep the content regular because there's not as much being released by GW, but he wants to keep the content regular, so he's been doing a lot of range reviews. I like the range reviews because it shows you, it can be a little clouded sometimes and sway your opinion maybe in a way I think it shouldn't, but the range reviews Kirioth's doing are really interesting because they show you exactly where that range is, but then he offers his opinion, and sometimes I think that can sway your thoughts one way or the other, that you wouldn't have necessarily thought the range needs completely updating, but then all of a sudden by the end of watching that video you're like, it definitely needs updating, and it gets people up in arms. And like the orc community sometimes I feel like get worked up when maybe they shouldn't about needing updated miniatures and stuff like that. He did his orc range review, and I think a while ago he said that the orc range needed updating drastically, needs massively updating, and the boys kit needs updating, and so on and so forth. But in his recent range review, I think he must have got a bit of backlash on that video. His recent range review, he said if it gets updated, it needs updating properly, like in a way that enables you to have the versatility of the boys kit that the boys kit provides. And if you update the boys, don't scale them up and so on and so forth, so you can still mix and match them with all the other kits. And that was one of the things that came out of the range review there. But yeah, Kirioth and Balrak, they pump out the videos on the regular, and it's like a race to get certain hot topic videos out and things like that. And Steve-O does that on his channel as well. And it's but the thing is, the things people want to talk about, want to listen about anyway. So I don't think you can moan too much. It's just you see a certain number of videos in your stream saying Prophecy of the Wolf unboxing, Ghazghkull live build, stuff like that, like this video. I was going to be building Ghazghkull anyway. I thought I'd try and do it on a live stream. It's been an absolute disaster because so far I've got 2 parts glued together. Yeah, the race to get content out there can be tricky, but it really does help you grow your channel. If you want to consider at some point making some money from YouTube and stuff, it's a vital part of doing that. It's getting your videos promoted ahead of other people's. That's why people do that sort of thing, because you can earn a little supplementary income that can really help you, I would have thought, especially in a time like now when people all across the UK are furloughed. So they're at home, they're getting paid 80% of what they normally get paid. It's better than nothing, absolutely. But some people can't survive on 80% of what they normally get paid. So yeah, the supplementary income, like from YouTube or from Patreon, from Twitch, it all goes to helping individuals out. Back to the chat. Maybe I should just do like a sit and chat like Tabletop Minions does. Yeah, 6 a.m. in the US. Can't sleep, just going to finish painting my big wagon. Excellent stuff. Get to start collecting Phobos box set. That's something I was looking at before. Oh, I've got really itchy nose all of a sudden. That's no good. Don't want to be picking it on stream. That's something I was looking at before. Well, a while ago, I was looking at the Phobos, start collecting Phobos box set. I was, of course, looking at Shadespire. I went to Germany last year as well, and I didn't go in the Games Workshop. There was a hotel I was staying in, a hostel hotel. It was more like a hotel. I think it was described as a hostel, though. I think it might just be the word they use in Germany for hotel. But there was a hotel I was staying in. Come out the door, walk around the back of it, there was a Games Workshop there. There was like 3 Games Workshops in Berlin within like travelling distance. Dead easy. I didn't go in one of them. I should have gone in, because when you look on eBay, or when you looked at the time on eBay for Shadow Spear box sets, they came up as the German ones, Schaffenspeer, something like that. So I should have looked in at least one of those Games Workshop stores when I was over in Germany to see if they had a Shadow Spear box set, because I was very tempted by them and then potentially sell the Chaos, but I wouldn't. And when I get a box set like this one, for example, if the other set of miniatures in there, I never had any plans of using. I always get something in my head that says maybe you should keep hold of them in case you have any plans to use them in the future. And I hardly ever sell the second half of the box set. When I got the Dark Imperium box, before I bought the box, I agreed to sell half of it to Kim from Dice. What's his channel called? I've drawn a blank on so many channels this morning. Dice Paint Guy Miniature. I am absolutely useless today. I'll just type Dice into YouTube and see what comes up. I'm sorry, Kim, I've forgotten what your channel's called. Dicey, is it Dicey? Dicey Paint Miniature Dice Paint Guy? I don't know, I'm sorry. Yeah, so let's go back to chat. 6 AM here, start collecting Phobos. I've done Shadow Spear and more Hellblasters and more Aggressors. Give me Ragnar, save me 30 now. So I'm not getting rid of him just yet. Like I was saying, I always find it difficult to part myself from miniatures when I get boxes like that. Squigmar and Miniac. I've not watched much of Squigmar or Miniac actually. But yeah, there's quite often there's these channels that people mention as if I'm obviously watching them and like, oh, I don't know who that is. Like I only recently started watching. Again, I've drawn a blank on the channel name, but there's one that I've started watching recently, and they're taking the approach of like your YouTuber, your typical YouTuber, where they're growing the channel, they're following they're playing the game to appease the algorithm, and it'll enable them to grow the channel in very much the same way that Luke did. We've got G the Hypersapien in the chat now as well. Fantastic stuff. Right. Not a big fan of the Ragnar sculpt either. I like the Ragnar sculpt to be fair, but I'd be hacking it apart because I don't want it to look like a Space Wolf. Remember, guys, to like and share the live stream. Please do. Chapter Master Morgan, kind of disappointed for this Legacy of the Wolf release. Don't know. Did anyone actually ask for it? The Prophecy of the Wolf release, you mean? You mean in terms of what you got in the box, or I'm not entirely sure. But I like the box because it's got orcs in. To be fair, I don't need any mega knobs, and to be fair, I don't need any knobs. But I was always going to get Ghazghkull, so that's what made people buy the box, I think, for me. And sometimes GW would do things like that. But at the end of the day, you're getting certain miniatures in there for a lot less than you would. And at some point in the future, I'd buy another set of knobs and another set of mega knobs. So it's not like I'm spending money I wouldn't eventually. And then the infiltrators and stuff in there. People say they're not very Space Wolfy. I think the only thing that makes them seem not Space Wolfy is the fact that they aren't holding the knives. They've got these, at least one of the units that you can turn them into. They've got paired combat knives. And if you could have them holding them, that'd be a lot better. You could use other Space Wolf kits to convert them to holding knives. I would have thought anyway. And just Reaver kits and stuff like that. So you could make them look more Space Wolfy without too much problem. But they don't have the normal Space Marine shoulder pads. You could swap out the left shoulder pad that they have, which is slightly bigger. You could swap that out for a regular Space Marine shoulder pad without too much of a problem, I would have thought. And then you could, with a wolf pelt on or something like that. Or you could just... Sculpting wolf pelts isn't that difficult, I don't think. I've done it on a miniature and came out surprisingly well, and that was like the first bit of green stuff sculpting I ever did. So I think there are ways to make them look Space Wolfy and stuff. If that was part of the disappointment. Yeah, there's ways round that kind of thing. Did you tweet you're going live, and did you check out that Facebook page I mentioned? The Facebook page, was it the... It was... I think it was Immortal Realms one, wasn't it? From... Oh my god, my mind's gone blank again. It was Immortal Realms one from... I checked it out, yeah. I couldn't find the... thing you mentioned me in there. But I think... Was it a group or a page? Because I checked it out on a group and I couldn't find the mention. But, I appreciate it anyway. Just because I can't find it doesn't mean it's not there. It's just... it's not always easy to find stuff on Facebook. Please do more live streams. 5 a.m. in Texas. There we go. So Mythos should be up by now, shouldn't he? Why is he not watching me? Why is he not in the chat? Wake him up. Go round to his house and wake him up. I think you forget Gazzy was 20 years old before he was... Yeah, Ghazghkull was 20 years old before he was replaced. There's definitely parts of the Orc range that need updating. We've still got some... I was going to say still got some metal models. I don't think they're metal anymore, but they're metal sculpts that were recast into resin. Things like Mad Dog Grotsnake. There's definitely parts of the range that need updating. But the boys' kit's old. It's like 13, 14 years old, something like that. But I think the flexibility of things like the boys' kit... mean, to me at least, it doesn't necessarily need updating. There's certain kits though that definitely do need updating. You look at when you're seeing a different Space Marine lieutenant every other week, it seems like at times, then I understand why people get frustrated with Games Workshop, because they're not supporting all the factions in the same way that they support Space Marines. But Space Marines are the best selling faction, the most collected faction, so I can understand why they don't pump out miniatures for other factions in the same way. I liked hearing Kyrioth's range review, but the boys do not need an update. Yeah, I agree with that. The boys, for me, don't need an update. I realised this was live. Haha. Thought it was just a video. How are you? I'm good, cheers, mate. G. So much of the outline is in dire need of updating. Yes, and there's certain things that I don't like, but some other people do like them. I don't like the looter burner kit because I don't like the looters. I don't like over-the-shoulder guns. I think it hides too much of the miniature. It gives you a different looking miniature on the tabletop, that's for sure, but I prefer like holding the gun underneath, more like the flash kits, that kind of thing. And it requires a lot of converting to do that with the looters, I think. So, although I guess you could just use a load of big shooter boys and rocket boys from the boys kit, so I guess it wouldn't require that much converting. Just change the guns out, change the big shooters and the rockets out for what are they called? Looters guns. I can't think what they're called. Def guns. Is it def guns? I don't know. So many things have fallen out of my head this morning. I think I might have a problem. Live streams are good, but you might want to advertise them on your Facebook and Twitter. I advertised it on Facebook last night, and then I posted it in Idic Bear's the Wargaming Unification group and the Orc group this morning. But thanks for the advice. Got to shoot, great stream and chat. Looking forward to the next one. Excellent stuff. I hope there will be one in future. I'll try and do more for sure. What time is it there? It's 11:22 here now. Because this is actually a good time for me once live streams leaving up. That was one of the reasons I thought I'd do one at this time, because I'm definitely always going to be up at 10 o'clock. I can't always do one at this time because when I'm back in work, I'll be working at this time. But I might be able to do one occasionally on a weekend day at this time, something like that. We'll have to wait and see how it goes, how we do going forward. Swap the Noise Marine. I got him with an eBay bundle. Swap you the Noise Marine. Oh, you got him with the eBay bundle. What, for Ragnar? Nah, I don't need any Slaneshi type Marines. Thank you very much. I do like it's a nice looking model, the Noise Marine, but I like the Ragnar one a little bit better. Darren Latham did Ragnar sculpt. Cool. He did a great YouTube, but I think GW hit him with the no hammer. Yeah, with GW have a I was on the, for one of my nearby stores, I got onto the what's it called, like the emergency staff program, the temporary staff program. So I got onto a list of people that were going to step in to cover holidays and stuff at one of my local GW stores. But I never actually did my first shift because I joined and I asked the manager there about it because I thought I was going to have less work at the start of last year. I thought I was going to have a lot less work, or was it the start of this year? I can't remember. I think it was the start of last year. I thought I was going to have a lot less work because the company I was working for weren't doing as well. But that's all past now. I mean, it's a completely different situation now. But yeah, so I joined as like a member of support staff for a local GW. And you can work at any of your local stores or further afield if you agree to as well. But I never actually got around to do my first shift because my work came in just as regularly as it did the previous year. But yeah, one of the things that was mentioned to me was because the manager there knew I did a YouTube channel. If I was to become a permanent member of staff, I'd have to shut down the YouTube channel. So if you work for GW, you're not supposed to have a separate YouTube channel. I'm not sure why Darren Latham started up the channel. Maybe he was, because I think it's in the terms and conditions of your contract. I didn't ever see a full-time member of staff contract or a permanent member of staff contract, but because I was just a temporary member of the cover team, I would have still been able to continue with my channel there. But if I became a permanent member of GW staff, then I would have had to shut down the channel. It's all to do with the way they want to promote their products and stuff like that. And it can create a conflict of interest if you're talking about other people's products. It's the same way when I used to work for Nike, you weren't allowed to wear any Adidas store to work. Any rival products you weren't allowed to wear to work, and they didn't like it if you went to an event like a Christmas party or something in a rival product. Like if you were to wear, I don't know, some Adidas shoes to a Christmas event, then they wouldn't like it. It's just to do with conflicts of interest and stuff. I think it's fair enough, but it's a bit frustrating when you've got someone who's got potential to put out these amazing painting tutorial videos and stuff that he did, and some people really got something from a lot of the videos. But I think his videos are still up on YouTube at the minute. I thought they were supposed to be being taken down, but it seems they're still up at the minute, unless I've seen, or maybe they're on Instagram, not YouTube now. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, it's a shame that GW employees can't have greater social media presence, but I understand why, because of the conflict of interest, potential for conflict of interest. But most people that do this now on YouTube are giving GW free promotion, and most people don't badmouth the company and stuff like that. So then why would an employee? So I understand why they do it, but it's it's questionable. Maybe they're a little bit paranoid about certain things happening, and I think it becomes difficult because they don't want individual employees to be put in a position where they're being asked questions that could compromise release dates and upcoming product releases and stuff. Because if I was streaming every week as a GW employee, there'd be no doubt people coming onto my stream and saying, "Oh, isn't it great we're getting this?" and trying to catch people out by asking them questions. You see it on the Twitch streams now and again. People come on and say, "Oh, you're looking forward to the Primaries Outrider bike releases." They just put questions in like that, and it's to try and catch people out as if to imply that the information's already out there officially. So if one of them was to say, "Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to these Outrider bikes for the Primaries Marines," then that would put them in a difficult position with their employer. So I understand why they don't allow them to do the streams. But they're never likely to intentionally badmouth the company or intentionally put the company in a position where it could affect profits or anything going forward. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Compared to the third part of Wolf Prime Sculpts, it's horrible. I think calling it horrible is going a bit overboard. I'd agree. I like the look of I've looked at the miniature on sprue, but I've not actually looked at the Ragnar sculpt too much. I really like it. There's a lot of dynamism in there. He's jumping off a rock, a bit of an Aquila, but I like the look of it myself. I don't see any issue with it. I think you compare it to the old Ragnar miniature. I don't think you can have too many complaints. The old Ragnar miniature is one of them. I've got my sword in this and I'm a gun in this one. A swordy gun. Just one of the daft old sculpts from the 90s that technology limited people to at the time. I still plan to buy Gruck and we'll get even more knobs. I think that's, every orc player does that, don't they? They just keep adding, I'll just get another unit of knobs while I'm here, or while I'm browsing the internet, I'll just stick another unit of knobs, stick another unit of grots in my basket there. I've got an extra, I don't even know how much a unit of grots is. Is it a tenner for the box? I think it's something like that, isn't it? Fohammer Mortal Realms page group. Yeah, that's I did join. I think I joined the Fohammer group, Mortal Realms group. So I don't think you'll need to send me an invite. But if you do, I'll follow the link and then I'll find out for sure whether I'm in the right group or not, because I might have gone to the wrong group. Big Wah from Norway. Oddsteiner S. Siversen. Do you like my accent? It's good, wasn't it? They call me Piccolo. Deathcopter needs an update. I'd be satisfied if they just released the Assault on Black Reach Deathcopter as a standard kit that you could buy, but there must be a reason they're not doing it. I would have thought it's something to do with the mould or something like that. But yeah, the Deathcopter needs an update. Absolutely agree with that. Def Guns, that's it. Yeah, so I was right about the Looters Guns, Def Guns. I've gone on a massive rant there for about what was I even talking about? I was talking about YouTube channels and GWO employees having social media. Right, dude, shared on a live stream, and now can click that link and join. I can't see it, so it must have been hidden. Oh, I'm looking on Thingy actually. You know what? I'll look on my YouTube feed. Go back, because I've got my. I can't see it, so it must have been, because it had a link in it, it must have been blocked. Now, I don't know, unfortunately, yet how to unblock things or see when something's been blocked. So, send it to me in to my Facebook page, and I'll get it there. It'll be nice and simple that way. Got Eddie Brennan in the chat. Hello, Eddie. How you doing? Darren said his videos are up till June. Right, okay. So if anybody wants any of Darren Latham's videos, get downloading them. There's a way you can download YouTube videos. If you don't know how to do it, just Google download YouTube. So if you want any of Darren Latham's videos, there's some like in-depth painting tutorials. There's some handy ones, like I watched a bit of one the other day about painting a female face, because female sculpts have fewer, the faces are more full, basically. Like most male face sculpts are a bit like, they've got their chiseled cheekbones and chiseled jaws, and they've got a few more areas of interest, whereas the female faces are a bit rounder, a bit more fleshed out, so fewer, because if you put harsh lines in for cheekbones and stuff like that, it makes the face look more masculine at that scale. So not that scale, that scale. So it's that's why they do female sculpts. If you look at some of the old Sisters of Battle sculpts, I think they sculpted them very much the same way that they sculpt the male faces, and that's why some of them don't look very feminine. But the newer Sisters of Battle sculpts, most of them look quite feminine, but not like they couldn't be on a battlefield in the 41st millennium. Woo! Okay. I think he had to stop GW charge for painting sessions, and he was doing it for free. Okay, so that's another reason for a clash of interests. Is it what I had the right phrase before, but now I've completely forgotten it and decided to say clash of interest. Should we go back down to my table view so you can see how little I've done? This is the amount I've done in this stream. Yeah, I've stuck 2 parts together of Ghazghkull, and that's an hour and 40 minutes work now, or let's say an hour and a half, because I didn't really start till 10 o'clock. I started the stream a little bit early, but yeah, that's an hour and a half's work. I've stuck 2 parts together. That's why. I'm not sure I'll try and build anything on the next live stream. I might just chat. I'll bring something to build at the start and then chat away. But I might do a bit more work on Ghazghkull off stream once this stream ends. I was only going to go for an hour, but I've been on for an hour and 40 minutes-ish now. Yeah, an hour and 40 minutes, 40 seconds according to Streamlabs. But yeah, that's as much as I've done of Ghazghkull on this Ghazghkull Part 1. So I might do a bit off stream, and then Ghazghkull Part 2, you might see me in a bit more of a state of having been built up. So that's as much as I've done. But I'll go back through the chat again. See it now? No, I don't see it now. The Bard, unfortunately. Like I said, the chat must be blocking it because it's got a link in it. I don't know how to. No, send feedback. Top chat, live chat. All messages visible. Okay, here we go. Right, I've made all messages visible now. Zibarb. Right, so if you try and put it in the chat again, the Bard, I might be able to see it. Not a mod, so you can't share the link. If you make me a mod, I can post a link. Not bad. Here, dude. Hope all is well. Yeah, all good, thank you. Plastic Crack Gaming, got to go. Enjoy the rest of your stream, mate. Thank you very much. I don't think I'll be on for too much longer. Sorry to Eddie, who's just joined us, because I'll be cutting it quite soon. Got an order from GW today, so happy days, excellent stuff. I was watching, just before I went live, I was watching a bit of their breakfast stream on Warhammer TV. Watching a bit of the breakfast stream, and one of the Nick, one of the guys that's on the GW painting team, he got a delivery as they were on the stream. He had to run off and quickly open the door, otherwise he'd have to nip down to the post office and grab it there. Got to go and enjoy the rest of the stream. Right, I've already read that. I'm reading the same chat now. Only Wraithbone spray and an Imagifier, but I've been desperate for Wraithbone. Yeah, I've been looking at the Imagifier kit. It's one I want to get for my sister battle, but I've not built up the sister battle I've got yet. So, well, I've built some of them up actually, just enough to play in kill team, but it's something I need to get round to at some point in the future. So there's no point buying all the models now and then leaving them on the shelf like most hobbyists, like myself, most of the time do. Have a good one, Scar. My mate Gaz is not complete, and I've had him over a month. Yeah, it's tricky to find the time sometimes. You think most people have the time at the minute, but everybody's got something on, haven't they? So guest stream part 1 of 25, quite potentially. By the way, by the amount of build I've managed to do in this one, you're just as good as Mike Fox there, Dan. When he comes to work in a live stream, he builds a 3-hour stream and build 1 to 2 Primaries Marines. I hope that's not the easy to build ones, because that is bad, and it's potentially showing how little building I'll get done in the future, like any future live streams I do. I only just noticed you were live and have to catch you sooner next time. No worries, I better find a better way of sharing it, like the Bard's been saying. My Rob G and Lemon Russ from GW today also. Oh, nice one. Had to wait 2 weeks. Well, I had to wait how many months for that box? But that was obviously because the distribution centre shut down the week it was being shipped out. So we didn't. A lot of people in the UK, especially, didn't get it because that'd be the last place for it to be shipped from. Right, I'm going to call it there, guys, because I am needing the toilet. Thanks very much for watching. I've not got any links in the description below, but if you get a chance, or if you're watching this back after the fact, feel free to check out the links in the description below to my Patreon, etc. Patreon, Facebook page, maybe Instagram. I'll put that there at some point in the future. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Oh, no, let's do this in the face focus. Amazing. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll